Trustees is a meeting of the board that the public is allowed to attend. As provided the Ysleta ISD Policy BED, we invite members of the public to make comments during the citizens' input portion at the start of the meeting, according to the instructions provided with the electronic posting notice of our meeting. Legally, the board may listen but may not enter into a discussion on the matters in the citizens' input. We remind everyone that this is a board meeting often attended by students and ask that we conduct ourselves in a manner that best represents the values and traditions of the Ysleta Independent School District. This meeting of the Board of Trustees is called to order at 6:02 p.m. We have a quorum with Mr. Shane Haggerty, Mr. Sotero Ramirez, Mr. Charlie Bustillos, Mr. Mike Rosales, Ms. Catherine Lucero, Ms. Connie Woodruff, and myself, Cruz Ochoa. Trustee Haggerty, please introduce our junior ROTC.
Thank you, sir. It's become a tradition to honor our nation at each of our board meetings by presenting the colors, reciting the pledges of allegiance, and then posting the colors. The colors tonight are being presented by the Junior ROTC Color Guard from the often imitated, never duplicated, the mighty Parkland High School. The Color Guard commander is Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Evan Wilkinson. The other Color Guard members are Cadet Command Sergeant Major Zachary Winningham, Cadet Major Damian Castro, and Cadet First Sergeant Alan Delgado. The pledge leader is 7th grader Naomi Mendoza from Parkland Middle School. Will you please stand for the presentation of colors, the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance, the Texas Pledge of Allegiance, and a moment of silence. And please remain standing until the cadets have departed.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now, please join me in the pledge to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. De La Torre. We have 5 recognitions for you this evening. At this time, we ask all trustees to please come to the front of the dais for the presentation. Audience members, please remain seated until the recognitions are complete. Thank you. Our first recognition is a scholarship presentation by the Texas Association of School Boards. The TASB Energy Cooperative sponsors 3 student scholarships to active members who send representation to the Delegate Assembly. This year, our board vice president, Mr. Charlie Bustillos, served as a delegate, and as a result, Ysleta ISD has been chosen to receive a $1,000 student scholarship from the Energy Co-op that will be awarded to one of our graduating seniors at a later date. Here to present tonight's TASB Scholarship Award is sales consultant, Mr. Adrian Porras. Let's welcome him to the podium with a round of applause.
Thank you, Dr. De La Torre and Ysleta Board for having me here today. On behalf of the Texas Association of School Board and the TASB Energy Cooperative, it is my pleasure to present this scholarship, especially being an Ysleta ISD graduate. Go Trooper Pride. in the amount of $1,000 to the Ysleta Independent School District.
Let's thank the Energy Co-op with a round of applause. Our second recognition is in honor of our staff, schools, and district leaders who received awards at the annual conference of the Texas Association for Bilingual Educators. Leading the pack was our district, which was named the 2021-2022 Large District of the Year for helping significantly improve English language development among bilingual students. Instructional coach Lorena Cereceres, who now works at Cesar Chavez Academy, won High School ESL Educator of the Year for her work as a teacher at Del Valle High School. Other top 10 winners included Bel Air, Del Valle, Eastwood, and Ysleta High Schools, Parkland and Riverside Middle Schools, Alicia Chacon International School, and Desert Air Elementary School. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our 2021-22 High School ESL Educator of the Year from Cesar Chavez Academy, Ms. Lorena Cereceres. Lorena is accompanied by Cesar Chavez Academy Principal, Antonio Acuña, and Director of Academic Languages, Mrs. Ana Esqueda. Let's hear it one more time for our bilingual education leaders. Our next recognition honors the Hanks Middle School Counseling Team, which became the first ever in district history to be named a 2022 Lone Star Award Gold winner from the Lone Star State School Counselor Association. This outstanding team was honored after demonstrating success in a variety of areas, including being data-driven and focusing on goal completion. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me congratulate our Hanks Middle School counselors, beginning with Ms. Debbie Walker. Mr. Mike Enriquez. And Mrs. Maria McNulty. They are accompanied by Principal Pauline Muela and Director of School Counseling, Ms. Selena Munoz. Let's hear it one more time for the Cavaliers. Our next recognition will be presented by MNK Architects, the firm behind the design of Eastwood High School. Please welcome to the podium the President and CEO of MNK Architects, Ms. Renee Jimenez.
Good evening, Board and Superintendent Dr. De La Torre. We are here to present a very special award to Ysleta Independent School District for Eastwood High School Campus Transformation Project. Learning by Design is a national magazine that recognizes the top schools around the country that showcase educational design, innovation excellence. We are proud to announce Eastwood High School has earned the Outstanding Project Award. We would like to thank you and the leadership for Eastwood High School staff, students, and the community for the work that was done on Eastwood High School. And this board here tonight for your vision. We at MNK are proud to have been able to deliver your vision, to be recognized as a national level in an achievement that you can be very proud of and share with the families with the district. So congratulations.
Let's thank MNK Architects with a big round of applause. Our final recognition honors more than 100 Ysleta ISD students who won national academic honors from the College Board for excelling on either the PSAT or AP exams and maintaining a GPA of at least 3.5. These students are recipients of either the National Hispanic Recognition Award, the National African American Recognition Award, or the National Indigenous Recognition Award. Students may include these academic honors on college and scholarship applications, giving them a competitive edge in the admission the admissions process. Ladies and gentlemen, we will begin this year's National Hispanic Recognition Award winners from Bel Air High School. Please help me congratulate Crystal Alexander, Christine Avila, Amy Bonilla, Evelyn Borges, Aiden Bustamante, Aaron Cano, Alec Carrillo, Caitlin Cisneros, Michael Leyva, Haley Lopez, Audrey Martinez, Jean Osborne, and Israel Robles. They are accompanied by Principal Jake Valtiera.
Okay, everybody can see me. There we go. Hold up your certificates. Make sure they're facing the right way. And 3, 2. Awesome, thank you.
Let's hear it for the Highlanders. Next, we have National Hispanic Recognition Award winners from Del Valle High School. Please help me welcome Luis Alvidrez, Edel Lem Quinones. They are accompanied by Principal Ivan Cedillo.
Here we go, guys. In 3, 2.
Congratulations to the Conquistadores. Next, please welcome our National Hispanic Recognition Award winners from Eastwood High School. Beginning with Jacob Beckett, Laisha Calzada, Madeline Cataldi, Thomas Chacon, Ariana Fuentes, Cynthia Gonzalez, Zandria Hernandez, Brianna Herrera, Kyra Joseph, Matthew Lara, Ryan Lozano, Madison Montoya, Rhiannon Morales, James Moreno, Trevor Moreno, Eduardo Ortiz, Michelle Ortiz, Vida Piñon, Jessia Reyes, Francisco Sanchez, John Sandoval, Sarah Uribe, and Giovanna Zubia. In addition, receiving both the National Hispanic Recognition Award and the National Indigenous Recognition Award is student Dax Flores. And receiving the National African American Recognition Award is Jalen Stokes. They are accompanied by Principal Bonita Torres.
Second row. Right over here. And over the man between them and right on here. You know what, let me have you right over here. Let me check it. Here, right here. Yes, sir. Right there. And Miss Connie, I can see you all. Sir, can I take a step this way? Right there. Perfect. Okay, here we go, everybody. You can see me, I can see you. I'm over here. Let me stand right outside. He's good. All right. You can see everybody. Here we go. Nice big smiles. And 3, 2. Beautiful. Thank you all.
Let's hear it again for the troopers. Next, we have our National Hispanic Recognition Award winners from Hanks High School. Please help me welcome Ethan Cox, Alexa Heck, Abigail Navarro, Alan Olivas, Alexis Olmos, Liliana Rollins, Azrin Wiles. And receiving the National African American Recognition Award are Alyssa Butler and Krista Nance. They are accompanied by Principal Ruben Cadena.
Everybody at 3, 2.
Congratulations to the Knights. Now, please help me congratulate our National Hispanic Recognition Award winners from Parkland High School, beginning with Angelo Arenivar, Melanie Budd, Valerie Cano, Renee Guzman, Claudette Portillo, Quetzalí Sanchez, Yeshua Soto Velázquez, Daniel Torres. In addition, receiving both the National Hispanic Recognition Award and the National African American Recognition Award are Michaela Allen and Sophie Chote. They are accompanied by Principal Javier Salgado.
Everybody in 3, 2. Thank you.
Let's hear it for the Matadors. And now we have our National Hispanic Recognition Award winners from Riverside High School. Please help me congratulate Iris Cisneros and Alan Rosales. They are accompanied by Principal Maribel Guillen.
Right over here. And 3, 2. Thank you.
Let's hear it once again for the Rangers. Next, we have our National Hispanic Recognition Award winners from Valle Verde Early College High School. Please help me welcome Jonathan Gutierrez, Cecilia Ibarra, Larissa Molina Legoreta, Gael Lopez, Javier Molina, Hector Noriega, Vanessa Oropesa, Armando Orantia, Alexandria Pineda, Amber Ramey, and Homero Vela. They are accompanied by Principal Penelope Bankston.
Right there. We're gonna take a step this way. Right there. First, hold it. Okay, here we go. And 3, 2.
Let's hear it one more time for the Spartans. Now, please welcome our National Hispanic Recognition Award winners from the Young Women's Leadership Academy, beginning with Victoria Aragon, Ailed Castillo, Victoria Cuellar, Sofia Espinosa, Ariel Garcia, Mariana Garcia, Nicole Loy, Sophia McMahon, Ivana Nehru, Rebecca Ortega. Karina Ortiz. Haley Peacock. Fernanda Rios. Ailey Sixto. And receiving both the National Hispanic Recognition Award and the National African American Recognition Award is Bailey Castañeda. They are accompanied by Principal Melinda Villalobos.
Ready, ladies? You can all follow the timeline on the page. Move over, let's see how it's going. Single file. On the other side, and we have to right up and right here. A little offset, there we go. There we go. Nice big smiles in 3, 2.
Congratulations to the Transformers. And tonight's final group is made up of National Hispanic Recognition Award winners from Ysleta High School. Please welcome Roberto Aguirre. Luis Flores Trejo. Giselle Garcia. Gianna Ornelas. And Ethan Lopez Touche. They are accompanied by Principal Judy Calderon.
Go in, 3, 2.
Let's hear it again for the Indians. This concludes our recognitions this evening. Thank you.
Where's everybody going? The meeting's just getting started. Oh, we got one. Evacuation. Oh. Yeah. I got one too. One of those.
You always notice the worst stuff, isn't it?
That's 45 minutes. That's a lot of kids with everything going on. I thought it was going to take at least 45 minutes.
Yeah. It's a lot of kids.
Oh, I'm kidding.
I know.
That's a lot.
Connie went to the ladies' room?
All right. They do it at the ISD.
Monday?
Last night I saw it.
Oh, just walking in and out? Yeah.
We're doing, voting on agenda items.
Yeah, especially.
Trustee Lucero.
Let's begin.
Trustee Lucero, do we have citizens input this evening?
No, President Ochoa, we do not.
Oh, thank you. We'll proceed with the board workshop, and item number 1, I'd like to propose this to the board. That's COVID superintendent update. If we can postpone this until we get more conclusive data at this time, I think, from what we heard from the last time. It was very manageable, and I don't think there's any urgency at this point. So if you all agree, we'll just suspend item number 1. Okay. Okay, annual financial and compliance report presentation.
Yes, as President Ochoa, members of the board, as part of our board workshop, we have with us Selena Cereceres from Whitley Penn, who will do the annual financial and compliance report for the board. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. De La Torre. President Ochoa and members of the board, thank you for having me here tonight. Tonight we'll go over the results of the 22 financial statement and single audits. We'll start with the various roles of management with the Board of Trustees and our roles as independent auditors. Your management team, first of all, I want to thank Ms. Mary Haney and Mr. David Solis for all their hard work. They did the heavy lifting along with all their team members, preparing all of the information that we requested, even starting in the spring as early as March until tonight. So thank you, Ms. Lindley, too, for all your efforts and accommodations throughout the audit. I know it's an interruption to their normal duties, and they still helped us get what we needed. So their job is to make sure that there's internal controls and are responsible for these financial statements. You, as the Board of Trustees, need to make sure that those individuals are meeting their responsibilities for internal controls. And then we, as internal auditors, the reason we're up here and the reason we perform this audit is to issue an opinion on the fair presentation of the financial statements. So we don't provide absolute assurance that would require 100% testing of your transactions, and the fact is that there is human error, and so no one can provide absolute assurance, but we do provide reasonable assurance, and we perform significant procedures to make sure that we can reach that conclusion. The audit is not an indication of your economic well-being. However, if fund balance was too low or at a dangerous level, I'd be the first to tell you. But the purpose of the audit is to tell the users that they can rely on the financial statements, good, bad, or ugly. They can rely on the financial statements to make decisions. This includes the Texas Education Agency, other regulators, as well as those that have to make decisions on your audit, like bondholders as well. So given that we obtain reasonable assurance, we're making sure that the financial statements are free of material misstatement, and that we also provide results on your internal controls. Given that, with our planning, we started with our risk assessment. We came on site, identified the key controls, and tested those controls, not just over financial reporting, but also over your federal programs, including ESSER, and we'll go over that here in a little bit. After that, your management team closed the books as of June 30th, 2022. We came back in September and performed what's called our substantive testing. This includes corroboration, vouching, confirming with outside parties, not just inquiring of your management team or taking their word for it. We actually verified the information that was provided to us. All of this is necessary so that we can issue an opinion on your financial statements. And you can receive one of 3 opinions, and every entity wants an unmodified opinion, which is a clean opinion. So I am pleased to report that Ysleta ISD has earned an unmodified or clean opinion. I know that you hear this year to year, but it should not be taken lightly because it does take a lot of work to get here. And 1 year where internal controls break down or financial records are missing, this clean opinion can be compromised. So kudos to your team again. Because you do spend more than $750,000 in federal funds, we're required to add an additional layer of auditing standards called government auditing standards. And with that, we're required to report to you if there's any non-compliance, not just with federal, but also over state compliance requirements, such as procurement, Public Funds Investment Act, or even this year with your state allotment spending, bilingual education, and state comp ed. With government auditing standards, we're required to report on internal control significant deficiencies or material weaknesses just over the financial statements. And we'll see here in a little bit that we do the same with your federal programs. But again, I'm pleased to report that there are no findings over financial reporting. This year, we tested 3 federal programs: child nutrition, all of your ESSER funds, ESSER 1, 2, and 3, and T-class, and then emergency connectivity fund, which was a new COVID fund this year. Now, for the ESSER funds and emergency connectivity fund, we didn't have a choice whether we wanted to audit them or not. We had to. The Office of Management and Budget has deemed these of higher risk, and auditors must test it if it reaches certain levels and the threshold was low enough, or these programs exceeded that threshold that required us to test it. And we don't want to forget about the oldie but goodies, right? The child nutrition cluster, Title I, and special education. Those are the larger programs that must be tested every 3rd year. We weren't required to test Title I or special ed this year, but child nutrition was up in the rotation. We are issuing a clean or unmodified opinion over these 3 federal programs with no internal control or compliance findings related to these. Any questions before we get into the actual numbers? Okay. In your booklets, and I think you received them via PDF as well, but there's 2 sets of financial statements. The government-wide financial statements look very similar to those of a corporation, where it shows all the assets, including capital assets, and all the liabilities, which includes bonds payable. This is not what you see in your general fund, debt service fund, capital projects fund. The reason is because these financial statements are an economic resource basis, meaning it includes long-lived assets and long-term liabilities, in addition to your current assets and liabilities such as cash or accounts payable. You'll see that your capital assets increased by $145.3 million, and capital assets do make up about 64.9%. Your cash and investments total $412.6 million, and your bonds payable, if we move to the liabilities, the bonds payable are included in that $1.2 billion amount, totaling $938.8 million. The net pension and net OPEB liabilities total $63.1 and $130.2 million. And I just have to remind the board, and we have to do this every year, because if you have people watching, they think, my goodness, those are very large. Remember that these are not cash liabilities. These are just liabilities that have been assigned to you by the state, and it's based on your contributions to TRS, and then your proportionate share is assigned to you based on your contributions in relation to all contributions by those that participate in TRS. You will see that your net pension liability decreased by a little more than half, and that's because your projected investment earnings were greater than expected and it reduced your liabilities. I also want to remind you that even though this is fiscal year June 30th, 2022, the measurement period that TRS uses is from that, and that we incorporated into these financial statements, is from September 1st, 2020 through August 31st, 2021. And the reason that's important to understand for this decline in the net pension liability is because investment earnings were very favorable during that period. But what we've seen in 22 is that that was not the case, especially if you look at your 401k or other retirement plans. That's not what we were seeing. So I expect to see an increase in this net pension liability in 23, which is based on the 22. So that's just information sharing so that you understand why it decreased by so much. Your net OPEB liability totaled $130.2 million. There's not much that changes there. That is a pay-as-you-go plan, and it's not funded like the pension side is. But the likelihood of TRS failing and you having to absorb these costs are very slim, so there's nothing to worry about at this moment. And TRS is a cost-sharing plan. It is not a single employer plan. If we move into the general fund financial statements and just look at your revenues, you'll see that they totaled $401.9 million, with state aid making up the bulk of your revenues at $283.9 million. Your property taxes totaled $76.4 million, and remember that there's always an inverse relationship between property taxes and state aid. TRS on behalf totaled $20.5 million, and it's important to note that that doesn't represent cash revenue that you've received. That is TRS telling Ysleta ISD, we have contributed $20.5 million on behalf of your employees, and we put that aside in the pension for them. On the expenditure side, you have a corresponding $20.5 million as well, so it's a net effect of zero on your financial statements, but you'll still see it pop up in the pie chart because of the large amount, and I think it's important to note that it's not cash that you've received. There's just a recognition of what TRS has done at the state level. Then you have SHARS, or School Health and Related Services, at $10 million, and other federal revenue is $9.6 million. That includes your indirect costs that you earned from ESSER funds. The ESSER funds, you are allowed to claim higher indirect costs because the rate is higher as assigned by the Texas Education Agency. You also have child nutrition indirect cost. And that just tells the grantor, look, there are administrative costs or indirect costs such as payroll, HR, purchasing, these costs that go in to the general fund that we need to recoup those costs, and you can do that with the federal funds. And so if you compare your federal funds to last year, you'll see an increase because of those ESSER funds as well. On the general fund expenditure side, those totaled $386.7 million, with 60% or $229.9 million comprising of instruction and related services. The second largest portion of the pie is plant maintenance and operation. That includes utilities, et cetera. It's not just utilities, but that is one of the main costs within that category, functional category, at $46.6 million. And then you have your instructional and school leadership at $35.3 million. If we move down to the red portion of the pie, and on the right-hand side, general administration totaled $11.5 million out of the $387 million, or 3%. The Texas Education Agency always looks at this and ensures that you are not at 8% or more. That is the cap, and districts should be below that. And what I see that districts are right at 3%. I just presented several, and you're right in line with other school districts, and definitely well below that 8% that TEA looks at. Let's compare your actual results of the general fund to the budgeted amounts. Your budgeted amounts were a little more than the revenue, so you came under budget at $7.2 million on the revenue side. But on the expenditure side, you came under budget by $35.5 million. And that's mainly attributable to ESSER funds, moving those costs to ESSER, and so you had savings from various places. You also had other financing resources and uses that totaled $2.1 million, and your fund balance increased by a total of $17.5 million. And if you recall as well, this year it was a tough year for average daily attendance, which affected state aid across the board. Even with the hold harmless, a lot of districts saw a significant impact in state aid. So a lot of districts were trying to contain cost as well, and then use their ESSER funds as much as possible. Your fund balance totaled $125.6 million. You have non-spendable fund balance, and that's in the form of inventory and prepaids, and the reason it's non-spendable is because it's not convertible to cash. Then you have committed fund balance, which has been set aside by the Board of Trustees, and then you have your assigned and unassigned fund balance at $111.6 million. Now, the Texas Education Agency, specifically for first rating purposes, looks at assigned and unassigned together, and you'll see that you're trending in the right direction. Starting from 2018 all the way to 2022, you'll see the aggregate at $111.6 million, and it has been increasing each year. If we look at the general fund unassigned assigned fund balance as a percentage of your general fund expenditures, the optimal amount is to be at 25%, and you have met that. In fiscal year 22, you're at 28.9%. And so that's important as you prepare for what's called the funding cliff when ESSER goes away. A lot of districts are grappling with what are our plans after the ESSER funds are exhausted. So it's good to have a healthy fund balance like you do right now, to have that flexibility for planning purposes. So here is another illustration to show where you're at with your actual fund balance, which equates to 105 days or 28.9%, like we saw on the previous slide. 90 days is the optimal, but you've exceeded that. And that would equate to $95 million. The danger zone, which I like to call, is 45 days or $48 million. And that just indicates that if you continue to have $386 million in expenditures year after year, you would not want to get to the $48 million in fund balance. That would be a dangerous area for the district to be in. But you're nowhere close to that. And you're doing well as far as comparing it to the optimal fund balance. We also talk about your child nutrition and debt service funds because you adopt a budget on an annual basis. And your actual revenues total $26.5 million, and those came in under budget by $1.9 million. They were a little bit lower than anticipated. The expenditures, however, totaled $24.2 million, and those came under budget by $4.2 million. Overall, you did increase fund balance by $2.3 million, and you have an ending fund balance of $4.5 million. So where we're talking about having 90 days or 3 months of fund balance in the general fund, the child nutrition program under the rules of the Texas Department of Agriculture indicates that you should not have more than 90 days. They want you to keep fund balance low. So it's quite a juggling act to keep one as high as possible for future operations or funding issues, and this one you have to keep low or reinvest. If you do get too high, they just ask that you reinvest into the child nutrition program, excuse me. On the debt service side, remember that you also levy a tax for principal and interest. Those revenues, tax revenues, totaled $59.5 million, and there's a little bit of state aid, but it's very small. Those actual revenues exceeded the budget by $17.2 million. Your expenditures, which is your principal and interest and other bond fees, totaled $43.5 million, and those came under budget by $28,000. Your overall fund balance increased by $17.2 million, and you have an ending fund balance of $71.8 million. but look at the principal and interest payment you made in August of '22 totaling $27.9 million. Remember that you don't levy your taxes until October, or you levied your taxes in October of 2022, but collections don't start coming in until December, January. So you need these reserves, and it's important for June 30th year ends to have these reserves, given the August payment that you have to turn around and make right after year end. Any questions for me?
No, thank you, and very, yes. It's very thorough. It's a lot of numbers, but I think we're in good hands, and this audit proves it. So thank you all. Thank you, Ms. Lindley.
I want a clarification on that. I guess it was the first screen, if you would be so kind.
Here or here?
No, where the numbers are.
Oh, the numbers, okay.
There you go, right there. Can you expound on the net position of 21 to 22, having from 171 to on net investment in capital? Is that the money we put away? That
So the net investment in capital assets is made up of capital assets offset by your bonds. So
Okay.
when you issue more bonds, it decreases that number, but you always want to be in the black there. You don't want to be in the red, because every time you bring in capital assets, you want to have those bonds offset. So as you're spending the funds as well, you have the capital assets offset. But yes, that calculation is based on your capital assets net of related debt.
okay. That was my question.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I would like to take the time to really thank Lindley and your team for the financial management. This is a really great audit, and it also shows that as a board, we do make good fiscal decisions. We consider taxpayers, we consider everything in the decisions we make, and none of this could happen without your leadership and your management, so thank you to you and your team, Lindley.
Thank you so much. As Dr. De La Torre always says, we serve at the pleasure of this board, and you do a great job of leading the way and putting us under good leadership. So we thank you. I do have to commend Ms. Haney and Mr. Solis. They are phenomenal. They do a great job of managing the day-to-day operations.
Thank you. Now we will proceed to our internal auditor.
Good evening, President Ochoa, Dr. De La Torre, and all board members. This is Champagne. I'm here to show you this month's summary. You have a separate sheet with the project status with timelines. And overall, we have 10 projects in progress, including planning, testing, or draft report and review the caps. So for this past month, since past board meeting to last Friday, we have issued 5 corrective action plan with 4 audit required. We have completed 10 audit projects. 1 project was the first audit and no findings or completed. The rest of 9 was finished by follow-up audits. And we have 10 projects that we're doing the follow-up audit. It's going on. So total, we have 35 projects going on this month. And we have the hotline case. So you can see this one is the one that we have no findings, so finish it. And these were the corrective action plan issued with the 4 audit required. And in the timeline, you can see we put the month, estimate month to do the 4 audits. And these are the 4 audit report issued with the status. Either they are partially addressed or they are fully addressed in green. There were the hotline case progress, and we appreciate Bobby's handling all those investigations. And so far, we have 10 department audits going on. From 2021, carry forward 1 department and 1 follow-up audit to follow. With the last year's 20 projects, we have finished 18 so far. So again, with your support and everybody's cooperation, our district continue to be successful and guarantee our A status. Any questions?
I don't think we have any questions, and we appreciate your report, and I hope you're doing well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hector.
Okay, at this time, we will now proceed to our agenda review. We will now discuss agenda items as listed in the posted notice of the regular meeting of the Ysleta ISD Board of Trustees for November 16, 2022, and related recommendations, motions with the superintendent and executive cabinet, and received responses to questions and/or requests for additional information through the superintendent in preparation for deliberation and action on said items at the November 16, 2022 regular Board of Trustees meetings. Please stop me if you have any questions or you wish to pull an item for separate consideration. Consent item number 1, it's minutes of the Board of Trustees workshop and regular board meeting, October 19, 2022, 6 p.m. Consent item number 2, monthly financial update as of September 2022. Consent item number 3, budget amendments requiring board approval. Consent item number 4, annual and financial compliance report for the year ending June 30th, 2022. Consent item number 5, extension of contracts number 202-101-19, 202-10120, 202-10121, and 202-10122 with GuardCom Incorporated. Consent item number 6, extension of contracts number 202-10095, 202-10096, 202-10097, and 202-10098 with Kideski Security. Okay, so we'll now proceed to the action items. Number 1, donation to Bel Air High School. Number 2, approval of resolution to remove commitment of general fund balance. Number 3, action item number 3, sole source contract with Workforce Solution LLC, moving AMP Center timekeeper system to use of licensed software. And number 4.
I have questions on number 3.
Huh? Sir?
I have a question on number 3.
Oh, okay.
How is this sole source? How is there no other SaaS timekeeping companies that met the requirements for this?
So time clocks are married to the software, and you probably see our time clocks throughout the district. Unless we replace all of those, we have no choice but to utilize their proprietary software. And purchasing has been through it. We've had legal look at it. It is a genuine sole source, a copyright, patented, what type of product. And so, although we can go out to bid, and we are looking at that for a whole comprehensive system of new clocks and new software, for the time being, we need to continue using these clocks, and they've gone to a cloud-based software, and our only option is to continue that under a subscription, and they're the only ones that can provide it, such that it's compatible with our existing clocks, which are extremely expensive to replace.
And then the subscription goes up 5% every year?
It may, I have not looked at that.
3 years.
It's every
It's
3
locked
years.
in for 3 years.
Locked
We
in
can
for 3
renew.
years, according to Ms. Austin. I will tell you that the clocks have been around a long time. We are evaluating, but because it takes a significant amount of time to really evaluate the clocks and the options that are out there, we need at least a year for us to go through the process and identify and assess all of the various elements from each type of time clock and each type of software and how it will integrate with our payroll system.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Excuse me, the amount of the 165 is what, per year?
Yes, sir, it is.
Per year, so, and you mentioned what, 3 years?
Yes, it is, it allows us 3 years, but we're subscribing for 1 year.
Oh, I see,
sure.
okay. I'm with you, okay. Thank you.
Sir.
Ms. Leeper, you said the clocks are very old. It can be very expensive to replace. Could we not use, like you said, a cloud-based solution and just use as an app on our employees' phones?
You can do that. I would tell you that you lack internal control
believe
over those systems because right now, generally, they take either the swipe of a card or a thumbprint to clock in and out. So we know it's you when you clock in or out, which helps us control payroll costs and ensure that employees who are clocking in are the actual employees. If we allow access on a phone, that it is possible, and there are softwares that do that. I don't know that it's the ideal solution, but it's something we will be looking at. There are ways to currently clock in on your computer. Now, I don't know about a telephone yet. In our current system, we don't have access to a telephone app.
One of our joining districts was using an app-like device. And by the way, they found out they had problems with internal controls as well, too, in its application. But the reality is it worked just fine. So I'm just curious about that.
We're definitely going to investigate over the next year about what the future holds and what's the best resource for us to use with our employees and our existing accounting system and payroll system.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, we'll proceed to action item number 4, notice of district-wide intruder detection audit report findings and implementation of corrective action due to findings as shown in attached board backup. Like every other school district in Texas, we have had Texas Education Agency, TEA, conduct mock intruder exercises at our schools. As required by TEA, if there are any findings during any of these exercises, the administration is required to report it to the board and the public at a board meeting. The board backup shows what type of information can be shared with the public. This agenda item does that. There is no action to be taken on this agenda item. However, later in the meeting, the board will be briefed on the details in closed session. So we're proceeding. The order of the agenda has been approved. May I have an electronic motion on the consent items listed on the agenda as recommended by the administration?
Mr. President, I move to approve the consent agenda items listed on this agenda as recommended by administration.
We have a second by Mr. Sotero Ramirez. Please cast your electronic votes. All votes have been cast. Results are in. 7 in favor, none opposed. Thank you. Action item number 1, donation to Bel Air High School. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President, I do have something to say.
Ms. Woodruff?
I think that when COVID hit, it really took a toll on the bagpipes, and a lot of our programs, but we found out you can't learn the bagpipe online. Who knew? Well, actually, everybody knew that. But the thing was that it could have been a fatal thing that happened to that program. And because of the hard work of the school administration and so many caring alumni, I've had so many alumni reach out to me, number one, and say, are they gone? Are we never going to get to see them again? We got to stop this, and it's just been such a blessing to be at football games now. They're marching on the sidelines. I heard that they were at a signing for a student athlete the other day. They're starting to build, they're starting to improve, and it's just coming into place again. So I just want to add my thanks for this donation. It really, really helps out a program that is of major importance to Bel Air High School. And to thank Mr. Valtierra for his hard work in working with this donor and appreciating the fact that they don't want to be even recognized for it. It's just such a blessing. So I just want to say thank you to all of those people.
Thank you, Ms. Woodruff. I think it's so important to keep up our traditions in our high schools, especially the one at Bel Air. Our bagpipes have been around since I can remember, and I look forward to being there in the future. So thank you for this donation, and thank you, Ms. Woodruff. At this time, may I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move to accept a monetary donation valued at over $5,000 for use of Bel Air High School.
We have a second by Mr. Mike Rosales. Please cast your electronic votes. Results are in, 7 in favor, none opposed. Action item number 2, approval of a resolution to remove commitment of general fund balance. Is there any discussion? If no further discussion, may I have a motion? Mr. Bustillos.
Mr. President, I move to approve the resolution to remove the commitment of general fund balance for roof repairs, replacement, and HVAC replacement.
We have a second by Mr. Mike Rosales. Please cast your electronic votes. All votes have been cast. Results are 7 in favor, none opposed. Thank you. Action item number 3, sole source contract with Workforce Software LLC, moving EMP Center timekeeping systems to use of licensed software. Is there any discussion? If no further discussion, may I have a motion? Mr. Bustillos.
Mr. President, I move to approve the sole source contract with Workforce Software LLC to provide licensing use of software and support of existing time clocks to sustain use of District EMP Center timekeeping system and delegate to the superintendent or designee the authority to approve the subsequent addendments related to the contract consigned upon final negotiation and House Counsel review and Form 1295 Certificate of Interest Parties.
Thank you. We have a second by Ms. Connie Woodruff. Please cast your electronic votes. Results are in. 6 in favor, 1 opposed. Action item number 4, notice of, there's no, okay. Notice of district intruder detection audit report findings and implementation of corrective action due to findings as shown in attached board backup. As mentioned during the workshop portion of this meeting, no board action is needed on this item. At this time, we are going to proceed to go to closed session. The Board of Trustees has determined that a closed meeting of the Board of Trustees is required to discuss the items set forth in the posted agenda for this date. Such closed meeting is authorized by the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Section 551.001, including but not limited to the sections and purposes covered by the following section of the Texas Government Code 551.071, 72, 73, 74, 76, 82, 127, 821, 83, and 84. Should any final action, decision, or vote be required with regard to any matter considered in closed session, the final action, decision, or vote shall be in the open meeting or a subsequent public meeting with notice. The board will now go into closed session in the Rio Grande Room at 7:19 p.m. I reconvene this meeting of the Board of Trustees with Soltero Ramirez, Charlie Bustillos, Mike Rosales, Connie Woodruff, Catherine Lucero, and myself, Cruz Ochoa. I think Shane's running a little late. He'll be here. At 8:37 p.m. After closed session is number 1, consider to take possible action regarding district-wide intruder detection, audit report findings, and implementations of corrective actions due to findings. And we don't have any action on this. On the second, well, inside, we didn't have any action. Yeah. Do we have we don't have to do any action on this. No, there's no motion, if there's no motion, there's no action. For number 1. Number 2 is to consider take possible action regarding options for resolution of litigation E. Arciva versus YSD, cause number 2021 DCV-0158. Do we have a motion?
Mr. President, I move to authorize legal counsel to proceed for resolution as discussed in closed session.
We have a motion by Ms. Woodruff, second by Ms. Lucero. Please cast your votes. All votes have been cast. The results are in, 6 in favor, 1 opposed. If there's no further action or anything else, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Adjourn.